Senator, good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you, Hoppy?
I'm well, thank you. So the last time I talked to you, you thought you had 6 votes. What happened?
Well, following up on education from your last guest, I kind of received an education in politics at a high level. No, we each did have 6 votes, and it came to the point where I developed a comfort level with Senator Prezioso, and decided it was best, to have some unity. We don't need further divisiveness. So I released my folks and called Senator Prezioso, and he'll do a great job because he's been a great leader for 3 decades now.
Mm-hmm. He is, generally speaking, because it varies issue to issue, but he's generally more conservative than you are. I'd call him a conservative Democrat. I'd consider more of a progressive Democrat on certain things. So do you have any concerns there? Because there is a more progressive wing of the Democrats in the Senate that side will get heard by the minority leader?
Well, no, I don't have any concerns about that. I think we'll be unified. Really, our state is in dire straits. We're at a crossroads in its history. So all the things that may have occupied the Senate, in past years, we just can't afford that. Mm-hmm. We need economic revitalization. We need all hands on deck. And I had the pleasure of meeting with Senator Carmichael and Senator Hall yesterday briefly at the Capitol. And
okay.
I think we're going to have a lot more collaboration between the parties. And no disrespect to anyone, but a lot more of an open door policy where we can all get involved and all contribute.
Well, there is almost unanimous agreement that the economy and of course the budget, which I would put as 1A under the economy, or maybe that would be on top, whatever. But that and the drug issue are the 2 biggest issues. We just talked to Ron Weld, who's a conservative Republican, just got elected to the Senate, and he went door to door to door in the campaign. He said drug issue is a big concern, so that's got to be up there too. And I would think you'd be able to get some consensus on that, I would think.
Well, I'm an ex-prosecutor and was a juvenile judge, and Steve Williams, our mayor in Huntington, and other leaders have really been on the cutting edge of trying to address addiction and other mental health issues, and really believe that can be replicated around the state. Yeah. And so, but at the same time, getting back to maybe your first or second question there,
sure.
We have, we have to be sure that with all the cuts, and there will be plenty of budget cuts, we can't forget about, and we must advocate for, the families that deal with at-risk children, the families that are dealing with mental health issues. Higher education, has been cut and cut and cut. And we all know that our way out of this in the long term is education. And we really have to be looking out for our colleges and universities to make sure that we don't just emasculate them in terms of, their mission.
Well, you're right there. You got Marshall in your backyard. I know they're concerned about budget cuts. I know all of higher education is concerned about budget cuts. The reality is, though, Mike, there's only a certain amount of money. It's about determining priority until there is economic growth, which Jim Justice has promised. Until then, there's only a certain amount of money unless you raise taxes. Now, you may be in the camp that wants to raise taxes, but I don't see much sentiment for that. But you may have a different view after meeting with Hall and Carmichael yesterday.
I'm not in favor of raising any taxes as we speak. I think that there is room through attrition. I think that we need to look at the whole system. We need to look at the whole tax system. We tax on an agrarian level the way we did 100 years ago.
Yeah, you're right.
And so what you have are, small businesses, et cetera, bearing a large burden of tax when large landowners in the state don't pay much. And these counties like Webster, for example, are struggling. They're at the bitter end of a budget crisis here, and yet they have all this woodlands that just doesn't produce any revenue, very little revenue.
Well, I think that's a separate debate. I'm going to have to, well, we'll get into that when we get to Charleston. How about that? About how
That'd
to do
be
it.
fair enough.
All right. Mike Woelfel, Democratic senator from Cabell County, and he did concede to Roman Prezioso, so I assume that Prezioso will get all 12 votes. Is that fair to assume?
I think so. I think we're all going to be together, and yeah, I think so.
All right. Senator, always good to talk to you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.